Hey, it is day one of our challenge, and I am so excited to be talking to you about one of my favorite books. If you can't tell, I kind of love it. I have a lot of notes, and you should see what the pages look like inside of it. But this has been hands down one of the best reads that I've ever done. Atomic Habits. It's one that I reference a lot with my family, to the point where they get a little annoyed with me. But if you have not heard of this book by James Clear, it is 100% worth getting a hard copy. And then also you can get the Audible. He also has a program that you can go to his website. I think it's jamesclear.com, whatever that is. And you can actually sign up for a 30-day like kickstart. And so he walks you through the concepts. And so there's a lot of resources from this book. But this hands down is something that can absolutely change you if you'd like. So the biggest thing with this group that we are doing right now is I am less interested about what happens in this first 28 days. I'm less interested in what happens with a week, other than this. If this one thing happens, things will absolutely start to change. Whether or not you are on the trajectory of health or on the trajectory of impending sickness or whatever that is. And so you get to pick your path. If I wanted to, from Hays, Kansas, go to New York, I should probably be going east. If I wanted to go to LA, I need to go west. And so you get to pick, am I facing east or am I facing west? You don't get to pick, I get to pick. But each step that I take is getting me closer to either going where I want to go or going completely away and not ending up at the goal. And so this one concept is something that I've constantly thought about, because it doesn't matter if I am walking, if I'm riding my bike, if I am in a car, if I am on a plane. There are lots of ways. There's times that you can do a sprint. There's times that you can go faster. You can pick the pace. But the most important part is, where are you facing and where is the movement? So facing is the number one thing. Number two is an object in motion will stay in motion. It needs to go into that direction if you want it to be where you want to end up. But an object in motion will stay in motion. If you're in motion in the wrong way, then you're not going to end up in the place you need to go. So first, it's to stop, evaluate, shift your focus, then get into motion in the other way. So many people will do a short 7-day something or 28-day something, and they will try to be perfect. They're missing the point. If this is you, you are missing the point. If you have to do 7 days of white knuckle perfect, and then you can't wait to go and eat all the Mexican food or all the buffet or that big cheeseburger, you missed the flippin' point. That's not going to help anybody long term. And so there's more that will be learned in the process than there will be actual results. And I'm not saying there won't be results. There can be massive ones. But the biggest shift is the shift that this program makes in you. So let's get to it. I'm going to read some segments out of Atomic Habits so that you can really understand this concept. So number one, success is the product of daily habits, not a once-in-a-lifetime transformation. So exactly what I was just talking about. Single decisions are not going to be a deal breaker in the moment, but what did it do to your balance? We are all starting fresh from zero. Like, all of us are on the same, okay? With this whole challenge, we're all at zero. Every decision you make, each habit is a point. So each product that you take is a point. Each habit that you have, whether you win the morning, win the day, whether you have the movement, whether you do the full 30 minutes or whether you do less or more, everything is basically a point. And so you get to choose. So everything that you do is going to get you a point. Everything you don't do is getting you a negative point. And if you do a bonus, like for instance, my win the morning, win the day is my devotion and my 5-minute journal. As long as I do those, I get the point. But I read my Bible. That is an extra point. I also read from a professional development book that actually I read a couple, because I read part of this today. And so I get bonus points. And so did I do what I said I was going to do gets the point. When I go above and beyond, I get bonus points because I'm making more decisions that are getting me there. Also, when I'm not, that is a negative point. So did you go above what you said? Then add those 2 points. Did you make an excuse and justify why you couldn't or didn't? Okay, there's a difference between not drinking my water and then a difference between me saying I couldn't drink my water because I was out of town today. That is negative. That is negative double points, because not only were you not doing what you said you were going to do, you justified it. You sabotaged and you chose to stay stuck and with your excuses. And so you didn't just go in the opposite direction of where you wanted to go, but you sabotaged your future mentality. That is a crucial thing that you have to identify. That right there can absolutely change the trajectory of whether you get what you want in life or you don't. Because if you allow yourself to justify and sabotage yourself, you are going to continue that pattern, because how you do anything is how you do everything. And so when I am taking care of my health, when there's no excuse mentality, when there is what can I and what will I do mentality, that applies not only to my health, but to my relationships with my family. That applies to our finances. That applies to how I treat people. And so there are a lot of things that you can see the fruit of your life, and it's either what you want or it's going to be what you don't want. And so that's a key thing. But with that being said, it doesn't matter how successful or unsuccessful you are right now. Let's say that again. It doesn't matter how successful or unsuccessful you are right now. What matters is whether your habits are putting you on the path to success. You need to be far more concerned with your current trajectory than with your current habits or your current results, okay? So if you're a millionaire, but you spend more than you earn each month, you're on a trajectory to broke. If you are broke, but you save a little each month, then you're on the trajectory to financial freedom, even if you're moving slower than you'd like. So again, if I'm going to New York, I can walk, I can ride a bike, I can get in a car, I can get on a plane. I have a lot of different options. And so it may be slower than I'd like. It may take forever. However, am I on that current path? So all the big things come from small beginnings. The seed of every habit is a single tiny decision. But as the decision is repeated, a habit sprouts and grows stronger. That's straight out of Atomic Habits. Now this is mine. When the roots entrench themselves, the branches grow. As the tree grows, it's going to sprout fruit. It's going to produce more seed, and that seed is going to be replanted. That seed can transfer to our family members, to our friends, and to complete strangers that we may never meet. We may or may not know that impact, but that one thing is actually why our family has the financial freedom. We pursued our health. People saw, they asked how they could do the same thing, and we've shared that. And so this has been something that I was just so focused on planting that health seed in my body. It transferred to our family. We got results. People wanted to know, hey, what is this tree all about? Hey, you can grow your own tree. Here's the seed, grow your own, and it transferred to their families. It's been absolutely incredible. And that is something that we need to see, like, what kind of an impact are we having? Are we keeping our family stuck with our own excuses? Are we helping them move forward? That's something that can absolutely transfer your whole life, because if you're not liking the relationships in your family, if you're not liking the dynamic of the friendships that you have, change that trajectory and it can be extremely powerful. So another concept, if you can break everything down that you can think of that goes into living a healthy life, then improve it by 1%. You will get a significant increase when you put them all together. So it's very easy to overestimate the importance of a defining moment, but underestimate the value of making small improvements on a daily basis. Too often we convince ourselves that a massive success requires massive action. Now, the massive action that needs to shift is in you. It's in here. This battle will be won or lost in between your ears. It'll be in your mind. But we put massive pressure to make some earth-shattering improvement that everyone will talk about. But meanwhile, improving by 1% isn't particularly notable. Sometimes it's not even noticeable, but it can be meaningful, especially in the long run. So if you do this daily, you will be 30% better than you are today in 1 year. 37% improvement, that's huge. Are you kidding me? Imagine if you applied that financially. A 37% improvement in 1 year, that's big. And if you get 1% worse daily, you'll actually go down to 0. So have you ever felt like you're starting at 0 constantly? And I'm not talking about all of us starting on the same playing field like I was talking about earlier. Do you feel like you're constantly, I gotta get back healthy, I gotta get back on track, I gotta get back on track on my financial gain, I gotta get back on track with my family, I gotta get back on track, fill in the blank. Are you tired of that? That's what's happening. And so you're either going to be improving and growing. I would rather improve and grow at any kind of pace than be stuck at zero and starting the same place over and over again. That's called the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. I don't want to be back at zero. I lived far too many decades of my life that way, the first 27, and I'm not going back, and I haven't gone back for the last 11, which has been pretty cool. So time is going to pass anyway. Will you have something to show for it? Because good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. And what has time revealed about your habits? So we have our first homework. So for at least 3 days this week, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use James Clear's habit scorecard, and we are going to start evaluating it. It explains what to do, but basically what you do is you write down what it is that you're doing on a daily basis, and you can go to the back and keep writing it down, but then list if it's positive, negative, or neutral. So me waking up at 7 a.m., that's a positive. Me praying before I get out of bed, that's a positive. Me keeping my phone on silent until 9 a.m., that's a positive. And so what are some of the things that you're doing? Me making sure I have my water so I drink it. That's a positive. And so you can start to see what trajectory you're on because you're going to be able to see what is going on. But here's the thing. You have to be honest with yourself, because I did this a couple weeks ago and I didn't like the results. I was like, man, I'm full of a lot of excuses. And yes, I live in a comfort zone at that point because I had gotten my bank account, my health bank account, my life bank account, all of that so high that I didn't notice that I was starting to slip backwards because that little bit wasn't obvious. Again, it's a 1% decline or it's the 1% increase. So it wasn't as obvious as it could be. And so when I evaluated what trajectory am I on, I didn't want to be on that. So I said, okay, what do I need to do? That's why I'm doing this program right now. That's why I'm letting you in on how my brain thinks during this. And so you need to do this for at least 3 days and be honest with yourself, because things can't change unless you were honest with yourself. No one else needs to know, or you can share it. You know, one of the most amazing things that I've realized is when you share and when you're open and you're vulnerable. Now, there's a difference between looking for somebody to feel sorry for you or to commiserate with. That kind of attention's not going to be a good one. But it's like, I don't want to be this person and I'm committing to a change. That's something that's going to change. But some people like to stay in their stuck. They like to become their diagnosis. They like to become their broken mentalities. They like to become their poor bank account. They like to just make fun of or laugh at how they eat and just their poor decisions. It's not who I am. And so basically, once you've done this, is your current trajectory the one that you want? No? Then what are you going to do about it? And yes, do you want to pick up the pace and do a sprint? Or do you want to keep doing what you're doing? Because either way, you're moving in the right direction if it's yes. And so do the habit scorecard for at least 3 days. You can, of course, do it longer. But this is going to be something that's going to be very powerful for our group. So I hope you are enjoying this. This has been our daily message. Don't forget to go do your daily check-in. Make sure you've checked in on, did you do what you said you were going to do in the early morning? Did you do what you were going to do in the morning, lunch, mid-afternoon, afternoon, evening, dinner, and then all of those time frames, and your 5 habits. Those 5 habits are so key in order to really get where you want to go. Did you drink at least half your body weight in ounces of water? Did you intentionally move for 30 minutes today? Did you win the morning? Did you win the day? Did you sleep for 7 to 9 hours last night? And then also, did you take your supplements? That's a big part of where we have seen drastic differences. And so that's what we have chosen to share. But we were so excited that you were on this journey. I'll be looking to do that scorecard. If you would like to be informed of future things, then definitely reach out. But thanks so much for watching.